Hi, it's me, Katherine. My mommy is the best. Superman will be nice. She helps mommy. It makes my nose black. Your dick goes black. And this might go black. You wait for the straw. Brush. Get ready for It's Super Slippery. Not Super Scrap.
Welcome to my Global Healing for the Soul podcast, sponsored by myself, Robin Stoltman, as I am America's #1 fertility and parenting mindset expert. I'm also a transformational resilience speaker, a coach and trainer for businesses and individuals. I'm also an author and a supermom of 11 biological children, having 8 C-sections in a row after overcoming infertility that I had over 5 years, using my own fertility mindset revolution program that I created, with this being season number 6, episode number 30, where every week I feature different guests to help empower you to become the best version of yourself through different methods you may not have heard of or even thought of. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Healing for the Soul podcast, and keep coming back for more. Now today I have my guest, Katherine Celery, and she has been 20 years guiding parents, educators, and leaders through powerful mindset shifts that transform the way we communicate, connect, and lead. And her journey started as a mom who wanted something more than just the power struggles and disconnection. She wanted to feel that deep, respectful relationships that honored the whole person, which I believe all of us parents desperately want that in our lives. And so this led her to have this conscious parenting revolution and becoming a 3-time TEDx speaker. And today we are talking about burnout at home and at work, recognizing the signs and reclaiming your energy. Thank you so much, Katherine, for being here today. I appreciate it.
It's so great to be here. I feel so honored in your last few days before you give birth to this next precious being. So excited to be here. Very happy.
Well, I'm happy that you're here as well. So who or what inspired you to do this, where you created this conscious parenting revolution, and how did your own experience as a parent shape your work?
Yeah, so I started out, I lived in Hong Kong for 35 years. We just moved to the US again over COVID. So a lot of my experience coaching parents has been in Asia, and pretty much across the board, with parents from obviously Chinese backgrounds, and then Korean, Japanese, European, American. I mean, Hong Kong is a melting pot as well. It's a very vibrant, exciting city where a lot of companies send people for trading. And I was there originally as a commodities trader myself. And I had studied and speak Chinese, so I was sort of valuable for people who wanted to have an American who spoke Chinese and could work kind of between the two cultures.
That's amazing.
So it's really interesting. And because I had that, just literally that place of being in that city with this cross section of so many different parents, it gave me an opportunity to just sort of feel into how different is it for different nationalities, or do we all kind of face the same upbringing? And because a lot of times people would say, oh, well, I could see that working in an American context, but that wouldn't work for Japanese, Chinese, Korean, European. And I was like, well, I think that actually it's more about humanity than anything else. And so for myself, we had our first, and after a couple of years, we were my husband and I were kind of just deer in headlights. What do we do? There's is a behavior, we need some kind of a response to it. Neither one of us were good about like if you don't, threatening kind of language, this is going to happen to you. And so we needed to find a way for conflict resolution to happen. If we weren't going to use that way, then what way was it that we would feel comfortable with? So I trained first and taught parent effectiveness training, which is Dr. Thomas Gordon's work. He was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize 3 times. He's kind of the giant in the field of parenting communication. He's sort of who everybody has built programs around. So I was lucky to train and bring that program to Asia for a long time. And at some point, I was introduced to nonviolent communication and Dr. Marshall Rosenberg's work. And Rosenberg and Gordon are both coming from the same song sheet. And they're both trained by Carl Rogers at the University of Chicago. And Carl Rogers was the founder of sort of client-focused therapy, which then evolved into child-focused approaches to guidance. And nonviolent communication was so powerful as a perspective. It's a way of looking at the world. It's a way of looking at behavior. And it basically is the foundation of saying behavior isn't good, bad, right, wrong. Behavior is a reflection of something. And the more people are experiencing problems internally, the more it shows up externally. And so it's taking that perspective of looking at behavior as an inside job. So what's the underlying unmet need for which this is your tragic expression? So rather than working from the outside in, we work from the inside out. And it's a framework which really helps if you look at the world from the perspective of everything is a behavior that's either trying to meet a need or it's a reflection of an unmet need.
True.
And feelings and needs is the language of nonviolent communication, where you strip out judgment and you strip out blame, and you get down to like the essence of the core of non-blameful descriptions of behavior. So that's kind of the foundation, as well as, recognizing at some point there was more than what I was working with in Gordon, that there was more around communication and conflict resolution. And the Center for Nonviolent Conflict Resolution is really the foundation of restorative justice. And Marshall Rosenberg was the father of restorative justice in the American prison system and one of the most powerful forces for restorative justice in communication across the board. It's a different way of resolving conflict.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it, to be able to, because you are right, like even with the hypnosis that I'm trained in, it's like everything comes from the inside. It's not on the outside like what society thinks that it is. It's internally what's going on that's driving that behavior, and then the thoughts drive the behavior. And it's like, how can we change that? So then outside, because it's not outside ourselves, but it's like, how can we change inside to see that outside what we do want to have happen? So exactly. I understand that part. So what are some like the hidden patterns that you've seen parents repeating, that they don't even realize that are rooted in their own upbringing? Because as we're talking about, like, the inside is out, so then it's like the outside affects the inside, but then like parents wouldn't even be realizing that they're bringing these patterns up.
Yeah, for sure. So I think if we're talking about interactions with our kids, I think one of the main things that informs parents is deeply rooted irrational and conscious beliefs that they don't even know they have. And it surprises them when they have such strong responses or get triggered and are so out of control themselves by some behaviors that are happening with their kids. And that could be when we use the word disrespectful, for example, right? Disrespectful is one of those that is not really a non-blameful description of behavior. Disrespectful is one of those things that has judgment within it. What we're probably experiencing is an I hate you, mommy, I hate you, daddy, a slam door, something that is not acceptable in society as a way for a child to respond to an adult. And if we take a step back from our judgment of the words, and we can be like, wow, that's really not okay with me. And I don't want my kids growing up thinking that is acceptable. And I recognize that it's the symptom rather than the issue. It's the secondary problem rather than the primary problem. What happens when we get mixed up thinking the secondary problems are the primary issues is that we spend all of our time dealing with these retaliation, rebellion, and resistance, the 3 R's. That's the main thing. And we deal with the 3 R's as if those are the problem, when actually those are what happened as a result of how we dealt with the primary issues. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. And that's where I'm like, I understand that as far as like those recognizing those 3 R's, like for the rebellion as an example, when parents hit the teenage years. I'm like, that's a result of your parenting, how you did it when they were younger. That's all it is. And like my one son, he's got autism and he's 8. And so a couple times like he's reflected back to me some of my own behaviors. And I'm like, okay, I have enough tools to recognize he's just reflecting back to me. And I've even told him, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad instead of doing what most people do, which would be just attack and get all angry with the child. I'm like, I'm glad that you showed me this because this is something I need to work on so that I'm not getting that same result. And then like one of the things, like when he likes to yell at me because it's just something he can't control. And I'm working on teaching him how to control his temper on certain things. It's like, okay, so we've got this temper, we're working on it. And then like teaching him how to deep breathe instead is what I've been working on. And it's like, even in that, I've told him, I'm like, if you want me to yell at you, I will yell at you. You just keep yelling at me all you want. And then I'll just yell right back because I'm going to reflect back to him those same patterns that I don't want him to be doing. That's how I've done it. But it's kind of amazing to see that if I just deep breathe, he's picking up, okay, this is what I really want to do. Because he's like, I don't like when you yell. I'm like, I don't like when you yell either. So then it's just, we go back to, okay, let's deep breathe instead. So I understand what you're saying about when it comes to the rebellion part and all that. Yeah.
So, what Gordon uncovered was that when you use controlling forms of discipline, like rewards and punishments, you're cultivating external locus of causality. And you activate the 3 R's, retaliation, rebellion, and resistance. And then I worked with Dr. Louise Porter, who wrote the book, Children Are People Too. And in her research, what she discovered was that 75% of behavioral disruptions are the 3 R's. So I know, right? It's a huge number. So 3 out of 4 of our problems are the secondary issues, which is why when I help the parents that I get to work with, it's like, whoa, I just needed to learn a few communication skills. And instantly, the number of problems I'm dealing with, it's now 1 as opposed to 4, or 8, and now it's 2. And it's really extraordinary that we can get rid of all of the 3 R's so easily. But we have to first adjust in our mind the fact that children are people too.
Yes.
Which means that they're entitled to have feelings and needs and that they can speak up for themselves. Because some people, going back to what you said earlier, like, well, what are some of the patterns that are carried forward? Well, some of the patterns that are carried forward are that children should be seen and not heard.
Oh, that's the one that I hate.
Right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, when I was a kid, that's what I
know,
heard
me
all
too.
the time. And I'm like,
exactly. But
and then they wonder why we got. I'm just saying, like, they wonder why the generations that heard that have a problem being seen in their business, why they don't want to promote themselves, why they don't want to go out and do things because that stupid phrase.
It's so true. And that's exactly what has happened, is that we have so many people who don't know their voice.
Yes.
And they don't know how to use their voice because they were really told as they were growing up, it was cultivated inside of them that, whatever you've got to say, save it for somebody else on another day.
Yes.
But don't bring it into the family conversation, just really very complex, that nobody is doing this. I don't think ever as a parent, you ever do anything with the intention to do harm, but harm is done. Yeah, it is.
It definitely is. That's why I'm like, I had to say something about that phrase for that children should be seen and never heard, because it's like, I think out of all the phrases that I heard growing up, I heard quite a few. I think that was the most damaging.
Yep.
Because it's the one that I personally have had one heck of a time 39 years yet.
Overcoming. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And I mean, I can say we, because I've also had trouble with it. We're not alone. And there's so many people who hesitate to speak up when they do, maybe they get it wrong and they speak up too loudly because they haven't ever figured out like the right balance, because it's like they're,
Yeah.
starting to ride a bicycle for the first time and they're going to fall over a few times, and then people may look at them and then that makes them go back into their shell again. And so with all of this, I guess one of the things that I feel is so critical as a mom is that I always empower my kids to know that they matter and that their feelings and needs are important, not just to me and the family, but to them. And that they be in tune with their feelings, not because they want to become mad or sad or become the feeling, but because they need to see the feeling as the light on the dashboard.
Yes.
Oh, wow, there's a feeling there. It's telling me to look and see if I've got enough oil, or do I need to put gas in the car? To see it as a signal and link it to their underlying unmet need. And that's the foundation of nonviolent communication, is to say, yeah, I've got all these feelings arising, and I really want to take a moment, breathe into it, and sense where I'm feeling there's an unmet need, and sense like what's going on for me around that, which breaks the pattern of victim blame consciousness. It breaks the pattern of breaking out of, you make me feel, you did this and you make me feel. And so victim blame consciousness, I would say, is the other really big cornerstone of the transformation with the conscious parenting revolution, is that parents aren't saying to their kids, you make me feel anymore. You can't say you make me feel good or bad, because blaming anybody on your good feelings or your bad feelings is giving them way too much responsibility for your feeling realm.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like my kids, I know sometimes they'll say that to each other. They'll say, you made me feel, and I'm like, now you're giving your power away. So then they start laughing at each other. You gave me your power. And I'm like, okay, you guys are not using it correctly, but that's okay. I'm just like, trying to help them. Because I know, like, one of the things that I've noticed in like the struggling that can happen at times is being able, because we talked about like the feelings, but then being able to recognize those signs of that burnout that a person does experience, especially as an entrepreneur, for like that burnout between home and work, like with the kids, and then making sure that the kids don't pick up on that, but then teaching the kids how to handle that.
Yeah. So I guess, it gets us back to sort of this core issue of, how do I take care of myself in relationship to my kids, in relationship to my business, my colleagues, my neighbors, my partner. And they kind of tie in to that thing we were talking about a minute ago of, if you have grown up in an environment in which your own speaking of your own self is discouraged in the family system, then taking care of yourself is probably discouraged too. And it can be framed in ways that are almost guilt producing, as if taking care of myself, whether it's through my social and emotional needs and hanging out with my friends, or whether it's spa days and, really getting relaxed, or any kind of self-care, is almost looked upon as being like selfish or bad. And it makes it hard to figure out. Yeah. Or lazy. That's another good one, right? Those words that get slung around that then make it hard to have a really good self-concept that is cultivating self-care and allowing time for it without feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. That's why I'm like, I had to throw the lazy in there, because I'm like, I think it was one room that I'm like, I threw out that word of like how many people have felt lazy, and the adults, it didn't matter the age on any of them, because they were a lot older or younger. And just like that one word upset the entire room of full-grown adults. It's like they went right back to little child behavior because that one word, but it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's like it goes right back to that guilt for just taking time for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so these are the ways in which you can see the transgenerational trauma, where you can see the patterns are being projected onto the other person, that is just kind of like a deer in headlights, not understanding what's going on. How can that be? Yeah, it's helpful, I guess, when you allow yourself to not be perfect, It's
True.
helpful to give yourself room for your own flaws, mistakes. That as long as you don't get too wrapped up on, you know, I have to be the most perfect parent and I can't make mistakes, or I can't allow my kids not to be perfect. Those are sort of the things that I think cultivate a lot of stress in people's lives because they're impossible to live by. They're these
True.
standards that are just impossible to live by. So when we come up with these false principles and then hold ourselves to be responsible to these principles that are impossible to live by, we get stressed out.
I'm almost thinking like that's what really leads to the burnout.
It really does. It's our mind, isn't it? It's always our mind. We just have these problems with our mind.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I cannot remember if it was like the Ho'oponopono or something like that, where it's the lesson that I was learning was like everything comes back to memories. Like if you could wipe memories, the problems wouldn't exist.
Memories are so interesting, aren't they? Because we hold them. And, you know, I've done a fair amount of NLP work as well. And maybe you have
love
too.
NLP.
Love NLP work. It's so powerful.
It is.
As well as just great, you know, classic therapy. Also very useful. But just noticing, you know, when we think about something like, do our eyes move to the left corner, to the right corner? You know, what are ways that we can clear that energy, right? Because emotion, the body holds the score, right? The emotion stays in the body. There's just no way around it. And some of the work that also got integrated into my trainings is called focusing. And that was Eugene Gendlin's work. And so Gendlin was also at the University of Chicago. A lot of these guys all trained at the same time in history, and they all trained with Carl Rogers. And Gendlin looked at what is it in this group of people where if they have therapy, they get better. And what is it about this group of people, if they have therapy, they don't get better? Like, what is it about the way that they're going into therapy that makes that difference? Which I thought was really interesting. And the thing that came out of it was that people who have that fixed mindset, they talk about things as though they're fixed. They can't change. Versus those who are more in wonder about it and grappling, like they don't have like nouns for things. They have more of a, you know, like, I don't know, you know, something about, and, you know, they're exploring it because Gendlin says everyone has within them their own next steps. So again, we're back to an internal locus of causality. It's not out there somewhere. There is no out there. It's all internal. And so our mindset obviously creates what the opportunities that we bring toward us. But then when we have those opportunities, what do we do with them? And if we're working from an internal locus of causality, we include the body. And we recognize that, you know, I'm holding my tension in my chest or in my tummy, or it's right in my heart, you know, and we begin to put a hand on it and integrate the physical with the mental and emotional.
I love that because it does put more of that mind-body connection to that, because that's 100% like what it is. Because like when you said earlier, the body keeps score. It definitely does. And people wonder why they've got like for my husband, for example, high blood pressure. He's like, well, it's just in the family. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, it's a choice. You get to choose how long you want to keep this. It's 100% a choice. And so that's where I'm like, I'm thinking about some of this as you're speaking. I'm like, there's like even arthritis. Everybody has it because it's a natural part of aging. But not everybody feels it.
It's true.
So it's like, well, why is that?
Yeah. No, I mean, exactly. I mean, now we're getting into really fun territory where you've got multiple personalities, and one personality has to wear prescription glasses to read and the other one doesn't. And you're like, well, how did that happen? I mean, the power of the mind, it's truly beyond my comprehension. But I remember hearing once, you know, my mind's a dangerous neighborhood and I shouldn't be allowed to go there alone. Well, that's true too, because our minds are very powerful. And if we live in a negative mindset, we are really actually creating danger around us. which brings us back to things like mindfulness and mindfulness stress reduction. And what are the ways that we manage our mind so that we can be aware of it and the things that it's coughing up and trying to get us duped into believing are true. And our ability to stay bigger than the mind, bigger than what's bugging us, staying so grounded in, knowledge that we are able to look at it and go, well, I know that's not true. I'm not going to go, get away. Stop that. I don't believe that. Not for 1 minute.
Yeah, because I know that's one of the things that I've been doing myself is that when I catch the negative thoughts, I swear that's the hardest part sometimes. I've been doing this for 7 years, but it's the hardest part is catching the negative thoughts and releasing them. As soon as it's the catch and release.
Yeah.
Catch it, release it, let it go. Just, okay, we don't know, but just keep going. So then it's constantly flipping my brain to the positive because I grew up all negative and I'm still surrounded by negative. There's more negative, unfortunately, in this world than there is positive, but it's constantly looking for the positive in things. So what's one small shift that someone can make right now to create more connection and less conflict in their lives, especially as we're talking, with the negativity that's so prevalent in today's world?
So one little thing that you can do that I used to do with all my clients, maybe I'll bring it back again, is at the beginning of any of our trainings that are 3 months long, what have you, I would get them a small little notebook. And I'd say, now carry this around with you everywhere. And I want you to get really good at the practice of noticing your thoughts. And just like you said, and basically what you're going to do, it's called phenomenology, right? Phenomenology is that looking at and the study of how I think about things. And so write it down. Write down and just, literally write it down and look at it wow, can you believe some of the garbage that my mind has? Where did that come from? And you just take the power away from it. You don't come down hard on yourself. It's not your fault. I mean, it's really not. No. We don't really know where thoughts originate. I think about it, and the thing that I resonate the most with is this idea that we can affect our prana. Prana is, our life force energy. And yes. people raise their prana through different types of practices. I think a lot of people do prana through meditation and yoga, which is my realm. Other people may get that through exercise. I think runners probably get that runner's high, which I'll never know what that's like.
Me either. I don't like running. Even when I was smaller and
I'll never know. I can tell you right now, that one is just not going to be a part of my life experience forever. So if you raise your prana, you are literally vibrating at a different frequency. And so you're tuned into a different way of thinking about everything. And when you get really heavy in, negative thoughts, it's a different channel. And the good news is that you can get off the channel. But sometimes what happens when you're on that channel is that you begin to think that it's true or that this is the only channel there is. And I guess I would encourage people, it's real. Obviously, when people have literally been diagnosed with depression, this is where they're living.
Yes, it is.
Living in the negativity, and there's something that's harder for them to overcome without maybe support or medication or what have you. But the minute we change that station, we change everything. The ability not to believe our thoughts, the ability to have feelings but not be my feelings, to recognize that I'm back in command of myself, meaning I have a higher self that is the one that is really running my life. And I'm being dragged by it rather than being dragged through the mud by my feeling realm or dragged through the mud by my thought realm. I have thoughts, I have feelings, they're not who I am. So it's that identification piece.
I think that's huge with what you just said for that part of it, because so many people become their diagnosis and it just drives me nuts. I'm like, this is not what it is. Find something else to identify as in your life that is important, because it's it's sad and it's tragic at the same. It's more tragic than anything that people think that their diagnosis is like a superpower, or it's like these other things, and it's like, no, there's so much more to you than what you think that's there.
That limited identity. Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay. I've seen a lot of value in getting a diagnosis as a guiding light around a part of me, but it's not who I am.
Yes.
It's a part, it's something I work with. It's something that now informs me how to support that part of me. And so I'm really grateful to have that insight into a way to support that something in me without, again, becoming identified with that something in me.
Yes.
That's another sort of linguistically, another way that I like to help my community in the trainings that I do is to give them that language of something in me.
Yes.
There's something in me. There's a part of me that's, really struggling with this dynamic or with that thing. And it gives us a context to hold it in that is not the personalized, I'm feeling this, I'm that, that whole thing. That's where we just go, woof, down the river, honey. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So then, before we close our show today, what's the best way for our audience to get in contact with you so that they can be a part of this community that you have?
Yeah. Well, there is a Family Lifeline free group that we run inside of the Conscious Parenting Revolution. And for your show notes, I'll send you a link so people can join that. And it's really a place to just get support day to day. I'm having this experience, and anybody else ever had that before? That kind of a thing. For people who are worried about a dynamic that may have been really important to them, and they're sensing that there's a breakdown that they are not going to just live with anymore, then they might want to join my 90-day family reset. So there's, that's a coaching program I run every week. And the consciousparentingrevolution.com is the website. And I have freeparentingbook.com, which you can go to and download 7 strategies to keep your relationship with your kids from hitting the boiling point. And I give my Amazon bestseller away.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much today, Katherine. I really appreciate not just your time and energy, but our audience as well. So I want to encourage everybody to follow, like, share this Healing for the Soul podcast episode today. Thank you so much, Katherine.
Thank you. It was so fun.
That's all for now, folks. Thanks for listening. Thank you for fun. Tap that follow button. Subscribe. Quack, quack. Bye-bye. Well, next time. Now you got it.